All right, so picture this. You're back in Intro to Business here at Yale, but instead of cracking open those massive textbooks, we're taking a trip into the world of Fiverr.
Oh, yeah, Fiverr.
That digital marketplace where you can turn skills into income.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how Fiverr reflects all the things we talk about in class, entrepreneurs, clients, competition, and that whole thing about needing to market yourself strategically. It's like the whole business world shrunk down to a website.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And in this deep dive, we're not just skimming the surface. We're going all in, uncovering the secrets to becoming a Fiverr superstar. Going from complete newbie to a top-rated seller. And we're pulling insights from this awesome book, 1,000 Ways to Hustle Fiverr.
Yeah, that book really stresses that client-centric approach. We talk a lot about understanding customer needs and going above and beyond for them in our classes. Well, those same ideas are huge on Fiverr too. Yeah.
So true. Okay, let's break that down. The book says the first thing is figuring out what skills are hot right now. It's not just about what you're good at. It's got to be something the market actually wants. I was honestly surprised to see gigs for writing poems using AI or designing virtual backgrounds for Zoom calls. Talk about tapping into trends.
It's a fast-paced world out there, and that's why knowing what's trending is so important. Just like we do market analysis here, Fiverr is all about spotting gaps and opportunities. So what are people actually searching for? What are those top sellers doing? Fiverr's categories. And that search bar are basically your market research tools.
Makes sense. So you found some skills that are in demand and match what you can do. The book says the next move is to build your Fiverr presence. It's kind of like crafting your brand, but on a digital platform.
Exactly. Your profile is your storefront, the first thing people see. So a professional-looking photo is a must. Think clear headshot, maybe even a peek at your workspace. And that About Me section should be more than just a list of skills. It's got to tell your story and highlight what makes you unique.
The book has some really cool examples. One seller called themselves a storyteller who brings brands to life with words. Another one bragged about delivering projects faster than a caffeine-fueled cheetah, injecting personality and benefits, not just dry facts.
And of course, we can't forget the portfolio. Just like we emphasize here, showcasing your best work is key. You want to have high-quality, diverse samples that match the gigs you're offering. It's proof you can do the job.
I want you to think for a second. If you were building your Fiverr portfolio right now based on what we've covered in class and the skills you have, what would you put in there? What projects would make you stand out?
While you're thinking about that, let's move on to making gigs that actually get noticed and ordered. It's one thing to have a great portfolio, but if those gigs get lost in the sea of Fiverr, what good is it?
So true. Creating those effective gigs, that's where we get to apply all the marketing magic we talk about in class. Your gig title has got to grab attention both of Fiverr algorithm and potential clients. So instead of something generic like, I will write a report, think, I will craft a compelling market research report for your startup. Way more specific.
And yeah, the book highlights how important those keywords and benefits are. There's this one example, a gig offering engaging TikTok videos that boost your brand's visibility. Super targeted, super effective.
Love it. Now, the gig description, that's where you really get to sell yourself. You get to talk about your process, your expertise, what you deliver. Think of it as your elevator pitch, using clear formatting bullet points, even visuals, to make it skimmable.
And speaking of visuals, high-quality images and videos can really make a difference. If you can actually show potential clients what you can deliver, it builds trust and makes those gigs way more attractive.
So now let's talk about the hustle. It's time to get those first orders coming in and build up your reputation.
Yeah.
This is where that entrepreneurial spirit kicks in. I'm imagining those days of handing out business cards at networking events.
Yeah.
What's the Fiverr version of that initial push?
There are actually a bunch of strategies the book talks about, both on and off Fiverr, sharing your gigs on social media like LinkedIn, Twitter, even those niche communities where your ideal clients hang out. It's all about getting the word out.
Right. And Fiverr itself has some built-in promo features, too. There's that buyer request section where clients post projects they need help with.
Oh, yeah. Buyer requests. It's like having potential clients coming right to you. But you got to make your responses stand out. You want to highlight your relevant experience, tailor your pitch to their needs, and be quick to respond.
So it's kind of like a mini sales pitch. But the key is to show you, understand what they need, not just brag about your skills.
You got it. And as you start landing those first few gigs, communication becomes everything.
Yeah.
You know how we talk about how crucial, clear, and timely communication is in business?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same on Fiverr. Responding to messages, quickly answering those inquiries, handling feedback, it's all part of building trust and a good relationship.
It's almost like you're not just providing a service, you're building a connection. And that's something we always come back to in class.
Totally. And, we can't forget about actually delivering top-notch work. It's the foundation of any successful business, whether it's a giant company or a one-person show on Fiverr.
So true. Okay, let's talk about that. We've all been there rushing through an assignment, maybe cutting a few corners. What are some real tips to make sure those Fiverr deliverables are absolutely stellar?
First things first, pay attention to those client instructions. They usually give you detailed briefs outlining exactly what they want. It all goes back to what we were talking about, active listening and understanding client needs.
Right. It's not about doing what you think they want. It's about getting their vision and then blowing them away.
You got it. And set up a good proofreading process. Whether you're writing, designing, coding, whatever it is, mistakes can really hurt your reputation. Take the time to review your work before you hit send.
Oh, yeah. I've learned that lesson the hard way, even with our own coursework.
And last but not least, deliver on time. Time management is a skill every entrepreneur needs, especially on Fiverr, where deadlines are super clear. If you think you might be late, let the client know right away and be professional about it.
Okay, so we've talked about building that foundation on Fiverr, finding those in-demand skills, making a great profile, creating gigs that people actually want, and delivering amazing work. But what happens when you're ready to level up? How do you go from a side hustle to a real business on Fiverr?
That's where scaling comes in. And this is where Fiverr starts to look a lot like building a traditional business, something I know you're all interested in.
Scaling, that's a word that gets any aspiring business leader's heart racing. So how do we go from a Fiverr gig to a Fiverr empire?
The book lays out a few different approaches, and a lot of them mirror the growth strategies we've talked about in class. One big goal is getting that top-rated seller status. It's like the Michelin star of the Fiverr world.
I've heard that top-rated seller status opens up a ton of opportunities. But what does it actually take to get there?
It's a mix of things, but it all comes down to consistent excellence. You need a fantastic seller, rating, a high order completion rate, on-time delivery, great communication, and a clean record with Fiverr. Basically, you have to prove you're professional and reliable.
So it's not just about one awesome project or a lucky break. It's about building a solid reputation for quality work.
Exactly. And once you reach that top-rated seller level, you get perks like being more visible in search results, getting access to special features, and having a badge that shows potential clients you're the real deal.
Sounds like a great way to level up.
Yeah.
What other scaling strategies does the book recommend?
One powerful approach is figuring out how to get recurring revenue. Instead of relying on one-time projects, think about offering subscription-based services or setting up retainers for a certain amount of work each month.
That's a great idea. It's like having a steady paycheck, but you still have the freedom and control of your own business.
It is. And it helps you build long-term relationships with clients, which is something we always stress when we talk about customer loyalty and retention.
Okay, so recurring revenue is a game changer. What else can we add to our scaling toolkit?
Upselling and cross-selling are classic business tactics that work really well on Fiverr. Let's say you're designing logos. You could upsell by offering packages with faster delivery or extra revisions, or you could cross-sell by offering business card design or social media graphics once someone buys a logo.
I see. It's about creating a whole package of services that meet your clients' needs and give them more value.
Exactly. And as you start scaling your Fiverr business, you might hit a point where you can't handle everything yourself. That's where those management skills we talk about in class come into play.
Right. You're a Fiverr rock star. Orders are pouring in. And you need to build a team, even if it's a virtual one. Yeah. What are some tips for outsourcing effectively and managing people remotely?
First off, choose your freelancers carefully. Look for people with a proven track record, good communication skills, and a dedication to quality. Fiverr itself can actually be a great place to find talented people.
It's like you're applying the same hiring principles you'd use in regular business, but adapting them to the digital world.
Exactly. And never underestimate the power of clear communication. Be super specific about what needs to be done, set deadlines, and give regular feedback to keep everyone on track.
It's about making that workflow smooth, even if you're not all in the same room.
Right. And transparency is key. Be upfront with your clients about any outsourcing, especially if it involves tasks that directly affect their project.
So we've covered a lot here, from the basics of getting started on Fiverr to the bigger picture of scaling your business and even managing a team. It's clear that Fiverr can be a great path to becoming an entrepreneur. Like with any business, there are going to be bumps in the road.
Absolutely. No business exists in a vacuum, and Fiverr is no different. Understanding how Fiverr works and what challenges might pop up is crucial for long-term success.
Okay, so let's talk about those challenges. What are some of the obstacles Fiverr sellers might run into? And more importantly, how can we overcome them?
One thing that trips a lot of sellers up is those algorithm changes. Fiverr's algorithm is what decides how gigs are ranked in search results, and it's always being updated.
So what worked yesterday might not work today.
Exactly. It's kind of like trying to stay on top of trends on social media. What's hot one day can be old news the next.
So how do you keep up and avoid getting hit by those algorithm updates?
Staying informed is crucial. Fiverr puts out resources and updates on those algorithm changes, so pay attention to those and be flexible. You might need to change your gig titles, descriptions, or even your images to match what the algorithm is looking for now.
Sounds like you got to be adaptable to make it on Fiverr.
Definitely. And then there are those slow periods that every freelancer deals with, even the most successful ones. It's just part of the gig economy.
True. So how do you weather those slow periods without getting discouraged or freaking out about money?
Think of it as an opportunity. It's a chance to invest in yourself and your business. You can update your portfolio, learn new skills that could lead to more services, or try out different marketing strategies to reach more people.
So a slow period can actually be a time for growth and trying new things.
It all depends on how you look at it. And then, of course, there's the dreaded difficult client.
Oh yeah, the client from hell. We've all heard the stories. But how do you deal with those tough situations without losing your cool, damaging your reputation, or going crazy?
Setting boundaries right from the start is key. Be upfront about your policies, how long it takes you to deliver your revision process, what you will and won't do. It helps to set expectations and avoid misunderstandings.
Like setting the ground rules for a good working relationship.
Exactly. And if a client is being totally unreasonable, disrespectful, or you just can't work with them, don't be afraid to walk away.
Wow. Sometimes it's better to say no to a toxic client, even if it means losing a project. But how do you do that gracefully and professionally without burning bridges?
Communication is key. Explain why you're ending things calmly and respectfully, offer a partial refund if that makes sense, and wish them luck in finding someone who's a better fit.
So it's all about handling those tough situations with grace, even when you want to scream.
You got it. And remember, Fiverr has a resolution center that can help if you have a dispute with a client that you can't work out on your own.
Okay, so we've talked about algorithm changes, slow periods, and those nightmare clients. What other challenges are hiding out there in the Fiverr world?
Competition is a constant, just like in any market. There are tons of talented sellers offering all kinds of services.
Yeah.
So how do you make your gigs stand out and be irresistible to clients?
It's like walking into a packed bookstore and trying to make your book jump off the shelf.
You nailed it. We've already talked about focusing on a specific niche, but it's worth repeating. By becoming an expert in a particular area, you'll attract the right clients and you can charge more.
So instead of being a jack of all trades, you become the go-to person for a specific skill.
Exactly. And remember, building a successful Fiverr business takes time. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. There will be good times and bad times, challenges and wins. But if you keep going, stay flexible and focus on quality, you can reach your goals and create a business you love.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle, but it's important to remember that real success doesn't happen overnight. It takes work, dedication, and a willingness to learn and grow.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And, Fiverr is just one part of the bigger picture. It's a great platform, but it's not the only way to build a successful freelance career or become an entrepreneur.
That's a good point. So while Fiverr is a fantastic starting point, it's important to keep your options open and explore different avenues.
The freelance world is always changing, and the more adaptable and resourceful you are, the better you'll do in the long run.
This deep dive into Fiverr has been incredibly insightful. We've learned so much about creating a standout profile, scaling your business, building strong relationships with clients, and navigating those challenges that come with being an entrepreneur.
It's been a wild ride exploring this platform and how it reflects the bigger changes happening in business.
But before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, I want to shift gears a bit and talk about something that often gets overlooked in the rush to build a business, ethical and legal stuff. It's easy to get excited about landing clients and making money, but we can't forget about the importance of doing things the right way for long-term success.
Definitely, ethics and legality are not just checkboxes. They're crucial for building a sustainable business and a good reputation.
Okay, so let's get into it. What are some of the key ethical and legal things that Fiverr sellers need to be aware of?
Copyright and intellectual property are at the top of the list. Protecting your work and respecting others' work is more important than ever in the digital age.
Absolutely. And on Fiverr, you have to make sure that you're only offering services that you have the right to offer. You can't be using someone else's work without permission.
Right. You can't sell someone else's designs or music without their... Okay. And you also need to be clear about who owns the copyright to the work you create for clients. Usually the client owns it after they pay, but you should make that super clear in your gig description.
So transparency is key.
For sure. And if you're using any stock photos, videos, or music in your work, make sure you have the right licenses. There are websites that offer royalty-free or licensed stuff, and it's important to use them legally.
Okay, copyright and intellectual property.
Yeah.
Got it. What else should we be thinking about?
Taxes are a big one. Even though it's online, you still have to report your Fiverr earnings to the tax man.
Makes sense.
You have to keep track of your income and expenses. And if you're not sure about your tax situation, talk to a professional. They can help you make sure you're following the rules.
Got it. Taxes checked. What's next?
Privacy is super important. When you're selling on Fiverr, you're handling sensitive information, names, addresses, emails, sometimes even financial details.
So treating that information carefully and respectfully is crucial.
Exactly. Don't share your client's personal or business information without their permission. And get familiar with Fiverr's privacy policy. It tells you how Fiverr collects uses and protects user data.
Privacy checked. Any other ethical and legal gems we should keep in mind?
Honesty is the best policy. Be upfront about your skills, experience, and the services you offer. Don't exaggerate your qualifications or promise things you can't deliver.
No resume padding allowed.
Right. And if you're promoting products or services as an affiliate, make sure you tell your clients that transparency builds trust, and trust is essential for any business to succeed.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've explored the fundamentals of building a successful Fiverr business, from crafting a killer profile to understanding those legal and ethical must-dos that are so important for any business.
Yeah, we've been through a lot.
But there's so much more to explore.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
In the next part of our deep dive, we'll dig into some more advanced strategies for Fiverr success, like how to build those long-lasting client relationships, promote your gigs effectively, and stay ahead of the game in this constantly changing marketplace.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned for part 2 of our Fiverr deep dive.
Looking forward to it. Welcome back to the show. It's pretty wild to see how Fiverr has gone from like those quick $5 gigs to a real marketplace for entrepreneurs and freelancers.
It really has. And I think that reflects how work itself is changing. You know, the gig economy is booming and platforms like Fiverr are leading the way. It's something we've been talking about in our entrepreneurship classes.
Totally. It's empowering to think that anyone with a skill and internet access can potentially build a global business.
Okay, so let's say you've got your Fiverr gig going. You're starting to get orders and build a reputation. But how do you make sure those clients keep coming back for more? Repeat business is the lifeblood of any successful venture.
It really is.
Yeah.
And on Fiverr, building those long-term relationships is key. Every interaction you have is a chance to build trust and loyalty. It's not just about the work itself, it's about the whole experience.
So it's about exceeding expectations, not just meeting them.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to do that is to go the extra mile whenever you can. Deliver early, throw in something extra, add a personal touch. Little things like that can make a big difference.
It's like those delight moments we talk about in our customer experience lectures.
Exactly. And personalize your communication. Use their name. Remember things from past conversations. Show genuine interest in their needs. Those personal touches go a long way in building rapport and making clients feel valued.
It's about treating them like people, not just transactions. What are some other ways to build those long-term client relationships?
Stay in touch even after the project is done. Send a follow-up message. Offer helpful resources. Congratulate them on a business milestone. Little things like that can keep you top of mind and lead to more work down the road.
So you're not just building a client list, you're building a network.
Exactly. And don't be shy about asking for referrals. If a client is happy, they'll probably be happy to recommend you to others. Word of mouth is super powerful, especially online.
It's social proof in action.
Right. Now let's talk about getting more visibility on Fiverr and beyond. Even with amazing gigs and great customer service, you need to get your work in front of the right people.
Right. You could be the best, but if no one sees your gigs, it's like playing a concert to an empty room. How do we fill those seats?
Fiverr's search algorithm does some of the work, but there are things you can do to boost your visibility. One tool is Fiverr Anywhere. It lets you embed your Fiverr gigs directly onto your website or blog.
So if you already have an online presence, you can connect it seamlessly with your Fiverr offerings.
Exactly. It's a great way to reach people who might not be actively searching on Fiverr.
Okay. Fiverr Anywhere is one strategy. What else can we do?
Promoted gigs are a paid advertising option that can push your gigs to the top of search results for specific keywords. It's like pay-per-click, but just for Fiverr.
So it's like giving your gigs a little extra push, but you have to be smart about it.
Definitely. You want to choose the right keywords, set a budget, and track your results to make sure it's worth the investment.
Just like any other marketing campaign, you define your target audience, craft your message, and measure your success.
Exactly. Now, have you heard of Fiverr's Seller Plus program? It's a special program for top sellers to help them take their business to the next level.
Seller Plus sounds interesting. Tell me more.
It comes with a bunch of perks, like a dedicated success manager, advanced analytics, priority customer support, and more. It's designed for sellers who are serious about growing their Fiverr business and want that extra edge.
So it's like the VIP section for Fiverr rock stars.
You could say that, but it's not just about the perks. You get personalized guidance from the success manager, deep insights from the analytics, and top-notch support whenever you need it.
Sounds like a great resource for sellers who are ready to scale up and really grow their business on Fiverr. I'm guessing there are some requirements to join.
Yeah, you have to meet certain standards, like having a high seller rating, a high order completion rate, and consistently delivering on time. It's an exclusive club for sellers who have proven they're committed to quality.
Okay, so we've talked about promoting your gigs, building relationships with clients, and even leveling up with programs like Seller Plus. But there's one more important piece to building a successful Fiverr business, the idea of always improving.
Absolutely. The growth mindset is essential for any entrepreneur, and Fiverr gives you a ton of data and feedback that you can use to make your offerings better and improve how you do things. It's like a real-time lab for your business.
So it's not just about setting up your gigs and hoping for the best. It's about constantly analyzing, tweaking, and optimizing. It reminds me of those iterative design cycles we talked about in our product development course.
Exactly. One of the most valuable resources is your gig analytics. Fiverr gives you detailed data on how your gigs are performing, things like impressions, clicks, orders, and conversion rates.
So you can see what's working, what's not, and adjust accordingly.
Exactly. Let's say you see that one of your gigs is getting a lot of views, but not many orders. That tells you people are seeing it, but they're not clicking to buy. You might need to change your title, your description, your images, or your pricing to make it more appealing.
It's like having a constant stream of data to help you make smarter decisions.
Right. And don't be afraid to experiment. A/B testing is a great technique. Try different gig titles, descriptions, images, and pricing to see what works best with your target audience.
It's a scientific approach to making your Fiverr presence the best it can be.
And remember, Fiverr is always changing. New features are added, the algorithm gets updated, and policies are refined. Make sure you stay up to date so you can adjust your strategies.
So it's not a set-it-and-forget-it platform. You have to stay engaged and keep learning. It's like a never-ending education in entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. The more you understand Fiverr, the better you'll do.
This deep dive into Fiverr has been so eye-opening. We've learned so much about creating those awesome profiles, building those strong client relationships, and even taking things to the next level with programs like Seller Plus. But no business is without its challenges, and Fiverr is no exception.
Right. Knowing the potential hurdles is just as important as knowing the strategies for success.
Okay, so let's talk about those challenges. What are some of the obstacles Fiverr sellers might face, and how can they overcome them?
One thing that often throws sellers off is dealing with Fiverr's algorithm changes. The algorithm controls how gigs are ranked in search results, and it's always being tweaked and refined.
So it works today, it might not work tomorrow.
Exactly. It's a bit like trying to keep up with the ever-changing trends on social media. What's viral today might be old news tomorrow.
So how do you stay ahead of the curve and avoid getting penalized by those algorithm updates?
Staying informed is key. Fiverr provides resources and updates on algorithm changes, so pay attention to those announcements. And be willing to adapt. You might need to tweak your gig titles, descriptions, or images to align with the latest algorithm factors.
It sounds like flexibility and adaptability are essential skills for navigating the Fiverr landscape.
Absolutely. And then there are those inevitable slow periods. Even the most successful Fiverr sellers experience fluctuations in their workload. It's the nature of the gig economy.
So how do you ride out those slow periods without getting discouraged or panicking about your finances?
Use the downtime strategically. It's a chance to invest in yourself and your business. Update your portfolio, learn new skills that can expand your service offerings, or experiment with new marketing strategies to reach a wider audience.
So slow periods can actually be opportunities for growth and reinvention.
Exactly. It's all about perspective. And then there's the challenge of dealing with difficult clients.
Ah, yes. The client from hell. We've all heard the horror stories. But how do you handle those tricky situations without losing your reputation or your sanity?
Setting clear boundaries from the outset is crucial. Be upfront about your policies, your turnaround time, your revision process, and what you will and will not do. This helps manage expectations and prevent misunderstandings down the line.
It's like laying down the ground rules for a healthy working relationship.
Precisely. And if a client is being unreasonable, disrespectful, or simply impossible to work with, don't be afraid to end the relationship.
So sometimes it's better to walk away from a toxic client, even if it means losing a potential project. But how do you do that gracefully and professionally without burning bridges?
Clear communication is key. Explain your reasoning calmly and respectfully, offer a partial refund if appropriate, and wish them well in finding a freelancer who's a better fit for their needs.
So it's about handling those difficult situations with grace and professionalism, even when it's tempting to let your emotions get the best of you.
Exactly. And remember, Fiverr's Resolution Center is a valuable resource if you encounter a dispute that you can't resolve with the client directly.
Okay, so we've talked about algorithm changes, slow periods, and those dreaded difficult clients.
Yeah.
What other challenges lurk in the Fiverr jungle?
Competition is a constant reality on Fiverr, just like in any other market. There are thousands of talented sellers offering a wide range of services. So how do you stand out from the crowd and make your gigs irresistible to potential clients?
So like that moment when you walk into a crowded bookstore and you're trying to make your book catch the eye of a potential reader.
Exactly. We've already discussed the importance of specialization, but it's worth reiterating. By focusing on a specific niche and becoming an expert in a particular area, you'll not only attract a more targeted audience, but you'll also be able to command higher prices.
So instead of being a jack of all trades, you become the go-to person for a specific skill or service.
Precisely. And remember, building a successful Fiverr business is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be ups and downs, challenges and triumphs. But with perseverance, adaptability, and a commitment to excellence, you can achieve your goals and build a thriving business on your own terms.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of building a business, but it's important to remember that success takes time, effort, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
Absolutely. And speaking of learning and adapting, I think it's important to emphasize that Fiverr is just one piece of the puzzle. It's a powerful platform, but it's not the only way to build a successful freelance career or entrepreneurial venture.
That's an important reminder. So while Fiverr can be a fantastic launching pad, it's important to keep your options open and continue expanding your horizons.
Exactly. The freelance landscape is constantly evolving, and the more adaptable and resourceful you are, the better positioned you'll be for long-term success.
This deep dive into the world of Fiverr has been incredibly illuminating. We've covered so much ground, from crafting compelling profiles to scaling your operations, building lasting relationships with clients, and navigating the inevitable challenges that come with entrepreneurship.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you.
But before we wrap up this second part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the importance of ethical and legal conduct. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of building a business, but we can't lose sight of the ethical and legal foundations that are so crucial for long-term success.
Absolutely. Ethics and legality should never be an afterthought. They're integral to building a sustainable business and a positive reputation.
So let's break it down. What are some of the key ethical and legal considerations that Fiverr sellers need to be mindful of?
One of the most important areas is copyright and intellectual property. In the digital age, protecting intellectual property is more important than ever.
Exactly. And on Fiverr, it's crucial to ensure that you're only offering services that you have the legal right to provide. This means that you're not infringing on anyone else's copyright or intellectual property.
Right. And it also means being clear about who owns the copyright to the work you create for clients.
Yeah.
Typically, the client owns the copyright after payment, but this should be explicitly stated in your gig description.
So transparency is key.
Absolutely. And if you use any stock photos, videos, or music in your work, make sure you have the appropriate licenses. There are many websites that offer royalty-free or licensed stock resources, and it's crucial to use them legally.
Okay, copyright and intellectual property check.
Yeah.
What other legal and ethical considerations should we have on our radar?
Taxes are a big one. As a Fiverr seller, you're responsible for reporting your earnings to the appropriate tax authorities. Even though it's a digital platform, the taxman still wants his cut.
Exactly. It's essential to keep accurate records of your income and expenses. And if you're unsure about your tax obligations, consult a tax professional. They can guide you through the process and ensure that you're complying with all applicable laws. Taxes check. What else?
Privacy is paramount. As a Fiverr seller, you'll be handling sensitive client information such as names, addresses, email addresses, and sometimes even financial details. It's crucial to treat that information with care and respect.
Absolutely. Don't share your client's personal or business information without their consent. And familiarize yourself with Fiverr's privacy policy. It outlines how Fiverr collects, uses, and protects user data. Privacy check. Any other ethical and legal gems we should keep in mind?
Transparency and honesty are foundational to building a trustworthy and reputable business. Be honest about your skills, experience, and the services you offer. Don't exaggerate your qualifications or make promises you can't keep.
So no embellishing your resume, so to speak.
Right. And if you're promoting products or services as an affiliate, disclose that clearly to your clients. Transparency builds trust, and trust is essential for any successful business relationship.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive. We've explored the importance of building lasting relationships with clients, the power of effective promotion, and the crucial role of ethical and legal conduct in building a sustainable Fiverr business.
It's been a whirlwind of insights.
But the journey isn't over yet. In the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore some even more thought-provoking concepts and leave you with some actionable takeaways that you can apply to your own Fiverr journey, or even your entrepreneurial endeavors beyond Fiverr. So stay tuned for part 3, where we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of Fiverr. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Fiverr. We've been on quite a journey, haven't we? From those killer profiles and scaling up to the ethical and legal stuff, it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah, it's incredible how technology has totally changed the game for entrepreneurs. Fiverr is a perfect example. It's like anyone with an internet connection can build a global business these days.
It really is. And it's not just for solopreneurs anymore. We're seeing big companies using Fiverr too, outsourcing tasks, finding specialized talent, making their operations smoother. It's becoming a key tool in business.
Definitely. And it totally fits with what we've been talking about in class, how the business landscape is constantly evolving.
Exactly. And speaking of our classes, I've been thinking about how all this Fiverr stuff applies to you guys here at Yale. You're all future business leaders, entrepreneurs, innovators, and I think understanding a platform like Fiverr can give you a real edge no matter what career path you choose.
Absolutely. The skills you're honing in, class, critical thinking, problem solving, strategic planning, those are all gold on Fiverr and in the real world.
You hit the nail on the head. Whether you're starting your own company, joining a Fortune 500, or even going at the nonprofit world, knowing how to navigate a platform like Fiverr can be a game changer.
It's like a mini business world where you can test your knowledge, try different strategies, and get real-world experience.
And who knows? Maybe some of you listening will launch your own successful Fiverr businesses while you're still in school. It's a great way to apply what you're learning, get hands-on experience, and maybe even earn some extra cash while you're studying.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. You guys have that entrepreneurial spirit. You're not afraid to hustle, to innovate, to take risks.
And that's exactly the kind of attitude that thrives on Fiverr. So for all you aspiring entrepreneurs out there, I say go explore Fiverr, see what sparks your interest, what matches your skills, and dive in. Don't be afraid to experiment.
You learn best by doing, who knows, maybe the next Fiverr success story will be a Yale grad.
Now that's a thought. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our Fiverr adventure. We've covered a ton, from creating those stellar profiles and scaling your business to those all-important ethical and legal considerations.
It's been an amazing journey, really, seeing how this platform works and how it reflects what's happening in the wider business world.
I couldn't agree more. And remember, whether you're thinking about starting a Fiverr gig or going the traditional route, the principles we've talked about, customer-focused communication, continuous improvement, ethical conduct, those are timeless principles that will help you succeed no matter what you do.
They're the building blocks of any successful business.
So as you go out there and make your mark, remember the lessons we've learned from our Fiverr deep dive. Embrace the hustle, stay curious, never stop learning.
And never underestimate your own potential.
And that's a wrap on our Fiverr deep dive. Until next time, keep hustling, stay curious, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.